And for more on this story, we now cross live to Birmingham, where our reporter Simon Burke is standing by. Simon, good morning and welcome to AM News.
Maruma, how are you?
I'm all right, my brother. How are you is the question after the chat we had yesterday, Saturday, prior to the Boks match against Japan. We're all positive, thinking it was going to be a walk in the park.
And it should have been, and it just took the world by storm and left everyone in shock. And as you can well expect, the Springboks are still to this day processing what went on, but they better stop doing that because Samoa awaits them, and this was one of the matches that we'd always earmarked as one of the big matches in our group, and one of those matches where we had to perform because Samoa's just waiting to take another chunk out of the Springboks if they can do it.
It must have been a hard week for the boys, I would imagine, after they had that below-the-par performance. How was the mood like in the camp this past week?
Well, they spoke about Sunday being a very deadly silent day within the camp, traveling up to Birmingham. And then there was the Monday review session where everything was laid out on the table. And then, according to most everyone in the camp, the squad grew closer together and kind of calmed down and started working on what they have to do this weekend against Samoa. That's the party line. Whether that actually happens is another story. And I suppose the beauty of sport is that it will all be exposed out on the field today, this afternoon.
Simon, speaking about that review session, what has been the point of, what has been the focal point? What is it that they feel they need to do differently in order to be able to win this match against Samoa?
Well, they're talking about discipline. They're saying it just wasn't up to scratch against Japan. In no way, shape or form were they ready for the breakdowns and for what happened after the breakdowns. And they gave away too many penalties. And in doing that, they just couldn't get going as a team, and they couldn't let the match flow. And what we saw against Scotland against Japan is that if you keep sustaining the pressure, at some point the dam will break. But it never did that for South Africa. And obviously against Samoa, that's a different proposition. So you're going to have to keep the discipline up, even more so in the off-the-ball incidents, which we are anticipating, because Samoa is going to try and fight us, and it's how our players respond and whether they keep a cool head or not.
8 changes were made to a team that placed against Japan. What do you think made the coach and his technical team to make those 8 changes? And how are they going to influence the game going forward?
Well, you know, Heineke Meyer has always had his first-string side, and he just brought them all out now in force. He's gone to his fly-half that he trusts, that's Andre Pollard. He's gone to the scrum-half he's been keeping on ice, and that's Fourie du Preez. Damien Delendi, the guy who breaks the line so well in the midfield, he's back as well. And Dwayne Vermeulen up in the forward pack, the number 8, he's also back. And those are the guys that Meyer depends on and trusts, and that's why he made so many changes. So he could get the strongest full-strength box side that he could possibly get, because they have to leave it all out on the field today against Samoa. There's no other way. It is a must-win situation. Otherwise, their tournament is pretty much done.
Now, we know that Samoa is a very physical team. We've already alluded to that. Do you think we have what it takes to go with Samoa toe-to-toe or pound-to-pound, if you will?
Yeah. The problem is with Samoa is we can't take them on up front. That's no problem. It's about keeping a cool head, though. So you're going to have to watch a guy like Eben Etzebeth. He needs to keep his temperament very measured, because they are going to do off-the-ball incidents against him. They are going to get under his skin. That's the way he responds. Interesting, Meyer put Bismarck du Plessis on ice for this match. He's not even in the match day 23, and that is precisely because Bismarck du Plessis is the kind of player that would let emotion rule, and he would respond to what Samoa is going to bring. And Meyer's just taking a precaution there. He wants a more considered approach. He wants us to keep playing rugby even in the face of a lot of adversity. But make no mistake, Samoa are ball players as well. They've got their fullback, Tim Nanai Williams, and they've got Tuilagi. These guys can finish, they can create, they can use the midfield gaps, they can rip South Africa apart if our processes, if our structures aren't right, and if our defense is lacking in any way.
Now, let's talk about the South Africans who are rugby-loving people that are residing in the United Kingdom. Are they still believing that the boys can actually make it outside the blocks?
Well, I think, I think the bravado from South African supporters is gone. South Africans do like to show up where the Springboks are playing and kind of, put their flag down in the sand and tell everyone how great we are. And justly so, because they've always had those bragging rights, especially in countries that are not New Zealand or Australia. We can kind of go to town bragging and stuff. This week, however, if you watch any of the South African supporters here, they're very quiet. They're very humble almost, because they know, they were on the other end of the biggest shock in world rugby, and now's not the time or the place to start running your mouth in public and telling everyone how great the Springboks are. I think there's a belief that if we can dig deep, we can beat Samoa, but it's kind of still a shock for a lot of people, and they're still reeling in that shock, and they're not being very chatty out in the streets of Birmingham today.
Simon, let's hope for the best, and we hope next time when we chat, at least we'll be talking about positive results from this match.
I hope so too. I hope so sincerely, yes.
Of course, that's SABC sports reporter Simon Burke joining us live from Birmingham in the United Kingdom.